Aaron is Miles Morales' uncle, brother to his father, Jefferson. Aaron, there's some tension between Jefferson and Aaron, but Uncle Aaron serves as sort of this mentor, this sort of grounding force for Miles, the voice that understands him when no one else really does, the shoulder to lean on, the hip uncle who kind of break down the birds and the bees with you on another level, that guy, you know. So it was a real joy playing that and getting to connect with Shameik, who plays Miles Morales, on that part. With Uncle Aaron and Miles, I think there's a connection there that Miles can't quite have with his father. So I think that they really connect on music. I think they connect on street art, sneaker culture. There's a sort of a video game relationship that they have as well. I think all the cool things that that Miles can't necessarily experience with his dad. His dad is really important because his dad is loving. His dad is a disciplinarian. His dad is a real voice of reason. But there's things where that Miles' parents can't quite cover, and I think Miles is, Uncle Aaron is that voice, that person who sort of fills that gap, that void, because they really do connect really organically and have really similar interests. And I think he just takes a lot of pressure off of Miles. Miles is a kid who is high achieving, but also has high expectations of himself, and his parents do as well, have really high expectations of him, and are really trying to push him to be, in a healthy way, but trying to push him to be a successful, well-rounded person. And sometimes it's a bit much for Miles. And so Aaron is the one who sort of lets a little air out of the balloon for him. And it works. It works for him. I just think that it's a wonderful ride that addresses things that I think speak to all of us at whatever age you're at, you know, as far as really coming to terms with who you are and the responsibilities associated with who you are, and embracing your identity, embracing your capacity, and taking that seriously, but also enjoying yourself along the way. And then the family element is just really beautiful because it's a whole, complete, loving family, not without its issues and sort of complicated family dynamics that definitely exist in that. But that's also very relatable because so many of us have somewhat complicated families or something in them that is complicated, but these are people who are working towards something really positive. And so I think that the film is a perfect fit in terms of families going to see it and really enjoying the story. This film is important on many levels. One, just to see this middle-class family in Brooklyn, and this kid goes to this academy. Like, I know people like that. Like that, those people don't get stories in that sort of middle-class experience. It's really important for people to be able to see that character as well. And obviously him being Puerto Rican and Black, I think that message and the way in which it's packaged and put together is very timely, very positive, and very relevant, and very real for a lot of people. And I just think, you know, growing up as a kid, I'm so happy that my child gets to live in a time where there are more diverse voices, and the pictures of our culture are on their way to lining up with the world we live in, you know, where we're having a very similar experience. I think that we're not there. But I think that we're moving towards being able to sit in a theater or turn on a TV, and what we're watching is slowly becoming a more accurate reflection of the changing world that we live in. And there will always be a certain degree of pressure on the entertainment industry, because the world is always going to continue to be changing and morphing and developing. And so how we picture that world, how we create pictures of that world is going to continue to we're going to have to be very conscious of that. And I think that this is a terrific offering, a terrific take on a very specific world with real cultural references. And it's done so well and done so respectfully and positively and dynamically. So I'm excited for people to see this. Miles, sort of shares that there's this girl that he likes, and Uncle Aaron sort of checks in and is trying to gauge where he's at with girls at this point, like being 13 and, being in puberty, and just assuming that he doesn't know how to have a conversation with a girl or to introduce himself with a girl. And he sort of like gives him a little pointer, a couple of pointers on how to approach a young lady, which I don't want to spoil how that turns out, but Miles definitely needs some practice. Humor is timeless. Humor. Um, I think it goes beyond age. I think there's always a way in which humor can really sort of penetrate the heart and the mind. And I think they did just a remarkable job with this of hitting some of the deeper elements that you always need to have in these type of stories. But then also there's a buoyancy to it. There's a levity to the piece that it always pops back up, and it always has a moment where there's this little burst of laughter, and it's done so well, and it's done consistently. It carries throughout the story in its entirety, and so I think it's depending on whether you're a parent and watching this film, or a child, or someone in between who's just going to see the film. I think that there's something there for everyone, and it's all very relatable, which is really difficult to do. And they did a wonderful job.